All right, all you devils, how's it going? Sam here with you. It's the it's Friday the 27th, Black Friday. All right, so we're going to go into some detail here and look at Bitcoin. We were also going to look at the S&P. Now, before we dive in here, I got to do these. Right, just a reminder. I mean, people would be pissed if you didn't know this was here. So this is the best pricing we offer all year. This is the Black Friday special. Now these are multi-month. This is educational only. Right, so the savings is 3 months here. It's the 30%, 35 on the 6, 40 on the 12. That's the big one. That's the best pricing we offer of the year in terms of what that brings your monthly down to. And these are the discount codes. Very straightforward, easy to remember. Right. BF40, BF35. Very, very simple, very straightforward. So, but if you had questions or for whatever reason couldn't remember what it was, you can either find it on our Twitter feed or just write us, right? We're very easy, very responsive. We're easy to get to. Now, additionally, and many of you don't realize that we have a very full-featured set of ninja tools that we use for the day trading part of our business here. So I spend a lot of my time there. But my partner and I have custom designed these based on how we trade the market. And if you're curious about any of this is, of course, you can always come over to our website and just click on indicators, right? You'll see this is all. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, right? If you were interested, one of the things that we've added here is kind of nice. So for whatever reason, you said you were interested in, I don't know, auto fibs indicator. That's going to show you your 50 and your golden zones throughout the course of the day. You're interested in that. Well, if you were interested in just that and we signed up for a free trial, we're going to send you an executable file that's going to populate your Ninja Trader with every single indicator we make. Right? You'll have full access to all of them for 5 days. Unlimited, full access, 5 days. Right? It's kind of cool. Now, if you're curious about how with the combinations we work with, how we put things together, over here on our website here under playlists, the very first playlist is the Ninja Trader Trade Devils training, right? There's 15 videos in here. Oh, shit. Usually they populate over here. But there's 15 videos in there that will... Let's see what I want to do. I want to get it this way. Usually all 15. Oh, here they are. All right, I got to open it up. So here are all 15 of them here. They're specific to how one individual indicators, but then how we use them in combination. That's really the value there. So if you're curious, particularly this very last one, if you're, that's particularly a particularly good one. And then some of the new things that we've just introduced, the order flow tools that will not look like what you typically would find in an order flow tool suite, but lots of content here for those of you that are interested in Ninja. And of course, you can demo Ninja for free. You don't pay for it and say you want to start doing some live trading. But between the Ninja demo and our demo, you can make some progress on your day trading there if that's of interest to you. So just so you know, additionally, right, 20% off all single indicators, 25% off of 2 or more. Again, very simple discount code, BF20, BF25. There you go. Okay, that's enough promotion. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. All right, so never a dull moment with Bitcoin. What we're seeing here is, well, I mean, if you were going to script out where you might, as precisely as you could, where you might anticipate some resistance, I mean, this is pretty simple, right? So we've got the all-time high and then just the double top here. Now, I'm on a 3-day chart here. But the double top we got here on the bodies, right? So we've got wick, body. Of course, pull that out. Where do we go? Right in the middle of it. Excuse me. So if you look at here, big picture, right? So the Elliotticians will differ on this, right? It's love it or hate it. There are quite a few, right? And it kind of surprises me. I got to admit, this kind of surprises me. There are quite a few that think that coming down from the all-time high, because people write me with these, right? They DM me, they'll post it under the comments, they'll post it on Twitter. So I see this all the time. They're thinking that this is an A wave. And that what we've done here now is just a big ABC, which would imply we're going down to challenge these prior lows. It's technically valid. So I will say that, right? So if that were to happen, you'd be back here saying, well, I'll be damned, right? That ABC was right. Now, I mean, it's literally, well, I don't say it that way, but I think that's, well, how do I say this with being tactful? I think that's fucking moronic. How's that for tact? Sorry, shit, I shouldn't say that. Watch, right? I say that and that's what'll happen. I think the probability of that is so low that I think if that's your primary, I think you're about to miss the opportunity of your lifetime. How's that for politically correct? I think that's just... That's I don't know what's driving your thinking there, right? So that would imply that, well, that would imply that we had the exact same fundamental background here of what happened when we hit the all-time high, having gone through 3 years of development across the space. This would imply that all of the well, not all, but pardon me, that the number of name-recognized hedge fund traders, institutional traders, call them what you like, that have now come into the Bitcoin ecosystem, how we say it that way, or just long Bitcoin. They're all wrong. They've timed it as poorly as they possibly could. Now, these are some of the best traders in the world. So if you've got a primary that has this completing a correction, I want to encourage you to rethink that. Keep it as an alt, like a Death Star alt. And let's start focusing on what the market is really telling you here, right? I mean, this is to call this corrective. So I guess I see what you're thinking, right? So you're thinking, okay, I got a big 3 here. Well, how are you going to confirm that, right? So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to see 5 followed by 3 followed by 5. Followed by, you see, this is going to require a Bitcoin crash. So many things would have to happen that would be negative across the entire crypto space. I just think you got to rethink that, guys. Literally, you're gonna overthink yourself into missing the trade of your lifetime. This is my view, right? Take it for what it's worth. Tell me to fuck off. I understand, right? If you're gonna miss it, you're gonna miss it. But god damn, man, why, right? See, I mean, so if you're concerned about that, put a stop on every fucking order, right? Okay, I mean, I understand, right? So you think, okay, we got to come back down here. Now maybe it's just some sort of need to be right, or some sort of need to say, oh, I picked the absolute low and post it on Twitter. I don't know what you're thinking there, man. I got to tell you, I think you've got to reorient there. And anyone who is bearish here, what this is an early Christmas present. This is the trading gods giving us a little bit of an opportunity here. So if you missed this, right? So if you weren't a buyer here, if you weren't a buyer at 10.2, the last time I kind of encouraged you to really think long and hard about taking the ride there. I mean, this is starting to correct, right? So this was, many people will tell you, right? It's inevitable, right? We can't defy gravity forever. I mean, I know human nature is like, okay, keep going. But it's actually, this is about the best thing that could have happened here. We really don't want it to stretch too far, because then the size of the correction just increases. This is healthy. This is just what you want. Exactly what you want. So, look at the RSI, right? And I talked about this last week. Look, here's the pivot at the all-time high. What did we get to here? 90, 93. Here's the next time we run this high. We just miss it. Now here, we just miss these, which would make sense, right? We just miss it here. We just miss it here. We're just going to miss it here. But look at the RSI. The RSI does not stay pinned like that without correcting. Eventually, right? Now this is a 3-day chart, right? So you can see, right? There were plenty of times where where the RSI got up here. I mean, shit, I could bring this all across, right? So we could do the same kind of thing. But again, that does not take a degree in finance to consider the probability that this is likely to correct. Had we kept stretching here, again, it's unhealthy for the market, for the trend. How about I say it that way? This is the best thing that could happen right here, because what this is doing now is creating the energy potential. So what's happening here now? Again, we don't know where this is going to bottom here. So again, for all this shit, these guys could be right, and I'll have I'll have written it all down, because I'm not exiting, but sure, I'll have egg on my face, and you can pummel me with your comments and commentary if that's what happens, but boy, I mean, every spare dollar I have is going to bet against that. So I'm on the other side of you, right? So if you guys are right, well, I'm going to feel a lot of pain. But think of the alternative. What now? If I'm right, who's going to be in more pain? I promise you, it'll be you. All right, because even if it did do this, eventually we're going back up here, right? This is an inevitability. In my view, right? It's inevitable, right? This will just be a mile marker on what's going to be, I think, the great bull market of our lifetimes. Now, all that said, right, I don't mean to hype it, but when I see all the people saying, come on, man, don't miss this. Don't miss this. If you're watching my videos, I don't understand what you're thinking here, man. I mean, I've screamed at you guys repeatedly, many times, said, like loudly, buy it here. Now, have I been right every time? Of course not, right? I didn't see that coming. Nobody saw this coming. When it started coming down, I was screaming buy it, right? So I was wrong about what happened with the COVID low. Right, so there, right? So maybe at that place, at this point, when this was here, all the bears, right, got the last laugh, or did they? Right? Did you buy there? No, well, fuck, I hope so. I hope so. Are you going to ride this all the way down? So that means you're short now. If you think that's the B, you're short. Okay, good start. Good start. I'll be back a week from now. We'll see how that looks in a week. Okay, so let's carry on. So just looking at this here. All right, so you guys know what I've done here. I've just got one channel on this, and then I've just pushed it off by 50. Right, so it seems to contain us pretty nicely here, and it's a little different. Now that's on the 3-day. So it came right to. We just do it like this, right? So right where we would anticipate the resistance. Now, it's not, interestingly, we did not get a perfect fib here, which is not discouraging at all, because what that tells me is that this is going to go higher. Probably. Oh, shit. Nobody knows, right? So let's be clear. I don't know that that's happening, but I'm willing to bet that it will. That nobody knows, right? So don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I do not know where it's going. But I think I know where it's going, and that's enough. That's all we ever get, right? You get an opinion. You get to back it up technically. You can back it up fundamentally. You can back it up across the space and look who else is in here buying? Who else? Who's short? Let's go down to a smaller time frame. Is there anything else I wanted to cover here? Last thing, we were looking at this in log scale last week here, and you can see here, we didn't quite get that edge. We just missed the median line. But as we come out of, as we look at this in correction, we don't need to be in log scale. Now, it's a click to get into it. But as we analyze the correction here, we don't need to stay in log scale. So having established here, okay, we've got a significant pivot here. In my view, all right, shit, I've spent 12 minutes telling you again, right? I won't repeat myself, but rethink that as your alternate. Okay, so let's go. Where do I have it? Let's do the more bullish here, and then we'll do the more conservative, right? So that I'm not just giving you bull porn here. Okay, so this now this is an 8-hour here. So here I'm just connecting, right? So this is traditional Elliott. Here's my low. Here's my 2. Here's my 1. Right? So just running that up here. Now it's different here on an 8-hour. I've got to do the full expansion here. So I'm just taking the channel and I'm just doubling it here, and we get the corner. Yeah, we get some wicks through. But if you really look up there, it's I can't even. All right, it's just wick. Well, pardon me. We get a couple of bodies there. Look differently on the daily. But so on the 8-hour, we got a little throw over here. We do, right? So let's see if we can get into that count here. Well, 1, 2, right? So what's plagued this count the whole time, right? We've talked about it many times, is the shallowness of this 2, because it makes you just question, what are we doing here? So if this is the 2, and we've got a candidate here for the 3, but my primary, I'm going to give you my primary and my secondary. My primary here is that we're in the process of the 1. So what we can deduce here, let me go back to this really quickly here. We can deduce from this that from the pivot low, this is the deepest correction we've had. Right? So what started here, it's deeper than this. There was nothing here. So this is our single deepest correction. It's actually not percentage-wise, but in terms of point value. This is our deepest correction. So my premise here is that what we're doing, actually considering the depth of it here, when I'm trading this as in my primary, is that that's a 1, 2 before we go 3, 4, 5. All right, so that said, let me come back over here, pop this up, bear with me a sec. Well, that's going to be too busy here. Let's go to well, here we can start here. So from the two, 1, 2, there is definitely an impulse that you can complete. Now there may be different ways to, oh shit, there are different ways to count this. Right, we've adjusted it, along the way. But now that you adjust along the way because you don't have the big correction. You don't know where you are, so you're kind of making a guesstimate, best estimate based on the prior swing structure. So it's not until you get a meaningful pivot that now you can work from that and go, okay, well now I got a top. So let's start working backwards. What do I have coming backwards? Can I get clarity now because something completed there? See if I go down to the hourly, if that gets any better. Okay, here's our 2. So per my primary, right, everything is tight here. So there's the completed impulse to get us off the low, right? The look it has the right look. We'll say it that way. I guess a little squishy up here, but the subdivision here could be argued, could be counted a couple of different ways. But I don't think you're going to get no Elliottician is going to get to this pivot and not say that. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. The majority of Elliotticians, I would anticipate, would reach this pivot and say we completed something there. Something completed. If for no other reason to look at the depth of the correction. Okay, well, there's our deepest correction. So what are we going to do with that? Well, again, if we make the assumption that this is completed, let's come back out here to a 4. Well, if this is my swing low and I've completed something here, this is a perfect example of when, do I have one on here? Oh, I thought I did. Yes, I do. Right. Perfect. No, I don't. I'm soon. Oh, fuck here. Come here. I'll get it off. Well, let's just draw it. I may have another chart. From the low, swing high. All right, let's put a regression channel on that. Now, how do we confirm? Well, this is a tool, and it's not if we break the regression channel, we have confirmed, but it would give you guidance into making that decision. So if we make the assumption that this is I'll stick with that. Let's assume, for the sake of this dialogue here, that that's a completed impulse. Now, if we come down here, that reasonable location for the A, although the A could be done here, and I know you can't see it, but if we're doing A, B, now if we break here, then I think that's increasing your odds play, your probabilities now that we are correcting at a deeper level. See, if we were to do this and just keep going, well, now you're rethinking this, going, wait a minute, maybe I've got to rethink where I am in this count. It's when we break this that's 2 standard deviations on the mean, right, from low to high. If we break that, then the odds play would suggest that what we're doing here, hang on, I'm getting better at this. All right, so we've got some sort of a B to be anticipating because there's an impulse here. We want to see the 3. Now, I'm not going to be sad if we come down a little bit lower because all we're doing is setting up the better opportunity in terms of where it goes. But we can be strategic about this. Say, okay, well, what typically happens? If this is a completed impulse, well, I guess there are 3 choices here, right? For a bull, it's either the 1 or the 3. I suppose the bears are thinking, oh, it's A, B, C. All right, down we go, and we're going down to break 3,000. Okay, it's possible, right? Anything's possible, right? So if we're done here, we're in the process of completing the retrace up here, right? For you want to be shorting Bitcoin? Well, there's your opportunity, right there. Trade the B into the C, because it wouldn't hurt you, right? So let's say the bears are right, and that's an A, B, C, and this is going to be 1, 2. Well, what's the difference here? Right, the only difference will be the 4 and the 5. You're going to get a nice ride down here, right? If you get a big ABC here, you're going to come into that. Oh, shit, I can't even do it on a 4. You're going to come right into that prior structure. So you can be right here in that call that it's A, B. So what's the difference between you and I? You're going to think that's 3, 4, and 5 are coming, followed by this, followed by that. Right? I'm gonna be on the other side of your trade, because when it gets here, I'm gonna buy the fuck out of that with every available resource I have. That's how bullish I am. Now, I'm not gonna take a second on my house, but I am gonna buy with the capital that I have available. So that's how strongly I think the opportunity is here, because I'm seeing this as a 1, 2, 1. Right, now, can I be absolutely certain about that? Of course not, right? Absolutely not. No. So what's the alternative here? The alternative would be that this is 1, 2, 3, right? So here would be the alternative, which is not. It's not like this is bearish, But if we go back to the idea here that we've got a regression channel here, so I'll take that one off and we'll hide this one. Let's think about the alternative here. Let's hide that one. Let's put that regression channel back on. So from here to here, right? There's my 2 standard deviations on either side. If we stay right here, if we do a little ABC here and we stay relatively close to 2 standard deviations, well, you can make a pretty, God, I still get this fucked up. A, B, okay, we could do something like that. But I don't want this going deep. Now, the deeper it goes, the more it solidifies in my mind that it's a 2. If we hold up here in the context, I mean, here would be prior 3-4. This would be a commonplace, right? Down a degree. Where's the 3-4? If we come down to something like this, right? I do not want this to happen, right? I'd rather we're making a 2, right? It's still bullish as hell, but if this is the 4, that's not the end of the bull run. Just means we're going to have a 1 up here before we start the 2. Now the difference in terms of where you'd enter if you're trying to buy the 50 to the golden zone is about a $2,000 difference. So it's not dramatic actually. This would not be a worst case scenario that we're only doing the 4 here. I don't think that's what's happening here. Now you can look at the 1-2 and say, okay, well we're long enough. And if we start to go up, we're going to have to pay attention to the length of, well, as I said, well, I guess we don't have to worry about that. Pardon me. We'd have to look at it in the context of 3 being the shortest, right? But at this point, 3 is longer than 1. So we don't need to fuss about that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, if we were going to have a shorter 5 here and the extension was in the 1, which would not be atypical considering how shallow the 2 is of the first impulse and correction. If this goes up for the 5, that's not a deal killer. That's not bad news. What I'd rather see is that what we're putting in here is the A and the B, and that we break this. So here comes the B. We get outside of this to confirm that this is all a self-contained impulse, and what we're doing here is now the correction to start into the 3. Here's your monster. Well, shit, right? I mean, it's the monster here in 2020, in 2024 that we might do. Yeah, we'll see, right? This could be just the 1 before the big monster, which is the next 3. So we shall see. Now, so as we sit now coming down here, we gotta dig into this and say, well, can I work with what's happening in there? Is there there's enough separation in here that I can draw any meaningful conclusions from it? Well, let's go look at it here at this. Let's go down to a 1 hour here. Okay, premise is that the 5 is in. Shit, I'm gonna have to go even tighter here. Let's go to a 15. There we go. They're down to a 15. I know many of you guys like to go down to this level. I only go down here. I don't make trading decisions down here, but I go down here to confirm a count. So here's the pivot, right? So here's the high. We get a little, actually you have a little bit of a, well, that's, oh God, I forget. I've been harping on this for the last, month, right? What I've been saying, do not buy the breakout. I guarantee you somebody bought that. Well, obviously, traded there. Somebody bought that. Oh, here we go. We're breaking the high. All right. How did that trade work out? Somebody sold it here. How did that trade work out? Again, there are going to be times where it runs, but over time, if you looked at 50 of those, very high percentage are going to be massive losers, like immediately losers. Small percentage are going to run. Pick your poison. So here we come from the pivot here. Well, I think 1, 2, I can complete an impulse here. So I think you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd rather seen that go a little farther, but it looks like something's done here. So is the candidate here for the A? Now we get a 5, rips right off of that. So it's always a little iffy down here. See, we're down at the 15-minute where you're kind of at this moment in time, looks like, well, shit, at this moment in time, that could be 1, 2 before we go. That would surprise me because this looks like 5. So we've got 5 followed by 5 followed by 5. Now we could probably do a little Elliott shuffle here and go A, B, C. It'd be a mighty skinny C. We're gonna maybe, right? That's I think less likely here that we've completed the correction here, right? But so I suppose now if this is going to play as the 4, then this could be 1, 2. We're going up for the 5. Yeah, you do the same thing down here, right? So just right through that. Okay, well, let's break the regression channel first before anyone starts talking about 2, 3, 4, 5 to go up, right? So even still, this would have to be the 1, 2 of the that'd likely be the 1 of the 5th, not the actual 5th starting, unless we were going to truncate or double top here. Which, again, anything's possible. As we sit here right now, what we'd prefer to see here is however we come back here and count this, we want another pop up here. But that's not the time. Well, I got to choose my language here carefully. If you're an Elliott trader, you'd have to be very concerned about the potential for this to be the B wave here before we head down lower. Now, if it's not, well, then we'd be right back to thinking, okay, well, shit, man, maybe that is the 4, right? Surprisingly, maybe that's the 4. If we're going to come down here and we're done here, we start to go again, which I suppose you could make that case. If we start to go again, well, here comes the 4 right here. Now we're seeking the 5, and we're still, well, certainly from the 2, from this 2, we're still in the impulse. So, well, I've taken that labeling off. 1, 2, this would be 3, 4, and we're still in that same impulse here within the regression channel. Possible. Extension in the 1. We complete the higher degree 1 here, and then we go 8. But then, right? So let's just play it through. Let's say that's what we get. And I don't have the pivot up here, right? So I have to just kind of make a guesstimate here. But we could use the 1, 2, 7, 1, 3, 8, 2 for our 5 here. Well, then if that's the case, now here's where we're looking to be a buyer, right? If the market's going to play perfect Elliott ball, well, that's between 12, 8 and what our golden zone down here at let's call it 10, 5, right? So it would be bringing you right back to the 1, 2. And again, I don't have this, right? So this is just, you're kind of mapping out scenarios here. So if we were to do something like that, get a pivot up here, break the all-time, go up to 21, you get a little push through, you get retail, everybody comes in. You notice it now, right? You see all of a sudden CNBC and Bloomberg, they've got talking heads, and they're giving you on their quotes, they're giving you Bitcoin quotes. So all of a sudden it's in the retail discussion about, oh, by the way, Bitcoin is about to get is approaching an all-time high, or it's a 2-year high. All of a sudden, that brings out retail. So what's retail going to do? We know what retail does, right? They're going to buy the breakout. So if that were to be the case, and we got the little push up here, hey, we're $1,000 over retail, right? They don't know that you're just likely completing an impulse off of the low, and what's likely to come off of that, again, emphasis likely, is that. All right, so they're going to buy it up here at the all-time high, just like they did back here, right? Who was buying up here? Who was buying right here? Right, it's just the way the markets move, right? So it's how it works, right? So retail buys that breakout and think, okay, here we go, we're off to the moon. Time to set my Lambo catalog, right? So we get the little breakout. Here we go. It's like day follows night. It's just what happens the way markets move. And it has nothing to do with fundamentals or technicals. It has to do with just human emotion, fear and greed. That's how we move. All right, so let's come back here. How am I doing on time? 28. Okay, so we're back here. Let's go back to that hourly. So you can kind of look here and say, all right, if it's the 4, well, it doesn't look like much of a 4. It looks more like it's a 5, but maybe we're just forced to live with it. I mean, a lot of times with Bitcoin, you don't get, Elliott perfection. You get, I guess I can kind of make that work, right? He's starting with the shallow 2. But, there are times here where it's, it's just spectacular. So, it's something here. I had it marked here. Let me find the other. I thought I had it marked here. Give me a sec. There's a pivot here I wanted to show you guys here. I believe it was right here. This I think it's this low here. I think it's this pivot. I thought I had it marked. There it is. Okay, so here's our last low before we go up. What do we do? Where do we stop? If you're surprised by that, you haven't been paying attention. All right, here's the last dominant low before we put in our high up here. Let me get it right on that pivot right there, right to the golden zone. We know Bitcoin loves we know the algos, right? It's what moves the market here. We know they're sitting right there, right? So dominant to dominant, boom. I mean, I guarantee I've shown over 1,000 of those in Bitcoin alone, at least 1,000. All right, so there we have. So that's what makes you think, okay, wait a minute. That's a significant pivot here. So is that the 4 before we go into it? My bet is that's the A wave here. So whatever we're doing here, whatever this 5 is, we're just in the process of creating that B wave before we go down one more time. Now, nothing says we have to break the low, double bottom. Bitcoin's not notorious for a lot of double bottoms. Many markets are, but it hasn't been the case here. So if we were to come down a little bit lower, that's an early Christmas. Well, shit, it might be Christmas. Depends when it gets there. But if this is A and we're going up for the B, that could, shit. Oh, well, shit. There's going into December. We'll see when that happens. But right now, it looks like just an A wave. And it's like, oh, thank God we got an A wave. Now, let's see if we can get a decent B here. Now, I will not be selling it there. I will not. But I will be down here with all the resources I can muster, right, for an opportunity to get in there. And I'm already long as hell. So this is me adding to that very, very, very bullish, very long holdings. All right, so let's get this off of here. Where are we? All right, we of course, you never know until you see, what's the first thing we see? Do we get a 3 here? Right, do we get a 3 and start to roll over and get a lower high? Well, if you wanted to sell it, there's your opportunity. Right, I will be sitting here waiting for that. Just looking now in terms of where it might go. Oh, let's get the 8 hour here. Again, I'm just doing the same kind of thing that I did on that 3-day chart. I'm just going in over here and saying, okay, well, there's the pivot. Here's where I have, let's pull back a little bit. There was some prior structure here. Oh, it was this pivot here. So I have body, wick. Looks like this would be a reasonable spot to be anticipating for this to kind of, this kind of thing, just draw it on your chart and say, okay, well, I'm going to set an alert there. If this comes down into this zone here, if this is 1, 2, let's take this off. If this is my 2 coming in here, well, I certainly want to measure that up. So from the proposed 2 down here, go get that, make that, I can't quite see it myself. So let's get that right on that pivot. Oh, so somewhere in here, well, there's your golden zone right there. Right here's the 50. Now the 50 is kind of out in no man's land, right? There's not a lot of structure there. So if we're going to come down a little bit lower and get, so look here, bottom of the channel. Your next structural support resistance, and here's your golden zone from the swing low to the swing high. So, and I'd say it this way: anything. Here's your buy zone. Right here. So let's call it 14.8. So just under 15, even 14.7 to 13.2. I don't know how you don't buy that. Well, first let's see if it's offered. It may not be offered, but let's see if that's offered. A lot of people think that we're never coming down this low again. I'd be inclined to differ with that. I do think at some point here, this 2 brings us down. We have to test some of this, because that straight rip up, this is the first thing we've had, right? There's been no testing. How's the supply down here? I mean, just some of the news that's come out just recently. You've got, I don't know if any of you guys watched the Sailor video, the interview that was on CNBC, and it was, if you haven't, you should. Oh shit, I think it was on CNBC a couple of days ago. If you Googled it here, you could find it. This Michael Saylor interview on CNBC. Really worthwhile. It's really worth listening to. And a few of his comments were, right now it's PayPal and Square that are buying all the Bitcoin in sight. But soon it'll be Apple and Google. I mean, the corporate, the large players, right, that are coming into this space. That's all why I think. Okay, so if you're anticipating this, right, that means you're smarter than all the guys at Square, all the guys at PayPal. We'll see if Google and Apple come into this, but that's a pretty fucking arrogant call. Will you be a hero on Twitter? Probably, right? You'll be able to post that. See, I told you. I'd rethink your position there. Any bears? All right. Now people tell me that I'm relentlessly bullish and I never show the bear count. I don't think that's what's going to happen. So why would I do that? Why would I mean, I'm doing it now just to kind of feed that a little bit because I get so many people commenting, where's the bear count? Where's the bear count? If I thought we were in bearish mode, I'd be the first one screaming out here, do not buy it. But I don't think that. All right, so I give you what I think and what I'm trading. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So let's hope we get a nice orderly, right? This is what I want for Christmas or Thanksgiving or Black Friday, a nice orderly 3-wave correction down here. Are we going to get that? Well, remains to be seen. But I'd be keeping the bullish alternate, or here bullish as your primary. Keep a bearish alternate. Go ahead, right? It makes you feel better. I don't have one, right? That's how strongly now. Well, of course, it'd be pretty easy to make one, right? I just gave you one, right? If we're going to go down here and test those lows, but this is the one that I don't know how you could be in this space, and if that's offered, not take advantage of it. I really think you'll live to regret that, and I mean the rest of your life. All right, how's that for a little conviction? Okay, guys, I probably rambled on too long there. I don't know how much I've given you here. I don't think there's anything to do right now, right? So sit tight. I'm not trying to trade this as the 4 to the 5. Now, if things change, well, we'll be back here. You know, members, of course, we'll look at it throughout the week. But if you're on YouTube, we'll revisit this next week. If this starts to really either accelerate higher or come down aggressively, well, you know, I'm quick to admit I'm wrong. As I've said many times, I'm wrong all the time. But you don't have to be right all the time to make money in the markets. What you do have to do is recognize massive opportunity when it's staring you in the face, right? This is opportunity. This is not likely to be doing that. If I'm wrong, well, you can beat me up then. Okay, guys, talk to you later.